Hello, guys,
Okay.
and welcome to another episode of the DrEnderPickles show. Today we have a very special guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
I am Sato, uh, in-game Sato86, and YouTube channel is Sato of 2B2T.
Yes, and I hear you're apparently a legend, according to the Camping
Apparently,
Rusher.
apparently legendary. Apparently, okay.
Apparently.
It has not been confirmed yet. Okay,
Yes,
it's just
okay.
apparently.
Unconfirmed reports. So, okay, I want to just start off. How did you find 2B2T in the beginning?
Shit. Fuck, man. That was a long time ago. Uh, I think I was looking for a server that I could, you know, be free in the way because I tried a couple anarchy servers before I tried to BTC, right? But none of them were good. None of them. Usually they had these spawn areas, protected spawn areas. They were very beautiful and all the crap. They had some economy shit going on too, but they were not true anarchy. They were not vanilla. I think I was looking for vanilla at the time. I just couldn't say. I just couldn't recognize what that was. I just didn't have a word for that. But I eventually found a video about 2B2T with a couple dudes exploring the ruins of some base. I found that very cool, and I started to learn more about the server. Uh, there was a video. I think that video today is private. You can no longer find that video. Uh, the guy who made the video was called Michael Rule 4, right? He also had a website at 2b2t.tk that it was used to uh, save places coordinates so everyone could go to those coordinates if they wanted to. It was like he Michael would ask people to email them codes and he would place them on the website. Code to this, code to that. These old ruined bases. And Michael had a video on 2B2T where he would teach people how to escape spawn, right? He would show the people that you had to use the Nether Highway to escape spawn. It was the easiest way. And that's what I did. And the problem the problem is when I joined B2C, I was expecting something and I got something else. Because from the videos I watched, the 2012 videos, 2011 videos, when 2B2T was at its prime, right? And what I got was a server that I was almost dead. There was just 15 people online. It was nothing. I was expecting like 80 people, 60 people. 15? I was very disappointed, but I decided to give it a shot. I stayed for a while, escaped spawn. I did everything that Michael said I should do on the video. I killed some spiders, got some string, made a fishing rod, got some fish, continued my travel, went very, very, very far, and then I started to make my own base, which was Anatolia. And that's how I found the BTC. That's how I started. But yeah, it was disappointing. It was very disappointing.
So, obviously, most notable base that you've been at is also the name of your group, Valkyria. So tell me a bit about that base, that group as well, and your experiences.
Okay, here's a funny story. We didn't really had a name for a long time for the group. We didn't even identify ourselves as a faction. I know this might sound surprising, but we were just a group of people, just a community. We didn't have a name. I mean, if you, I have old screenshots, but I would have to find it. It's really old shit. But at Valkyria, they named the base because, when they asked me to pick a place right after the temp map, there was a temp map, right? And House wanted to test some plugins to the server. So he brought the old map down and he placed a temp map. That's when I met with the Hitlerwood crew. Yeah, that was kind of like a face punch base because it was mainly the members were mostly from Face Punch, and I met them at this temp mat. We had a lot of fun. House would fuck with us constantly. House literally went to our base, right, and he like spammed zombies on it to kill us. I have the screenshot somewhere. I don't know where it is now, but I'm gonna send you later, and you're gonna show your audience. But yeah, House would fuck with us in this step map. So much for anarchy, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun. When the old map returned, I started whispering then and wondering if we could, you know, recreate that experience but on the old map. And he said, okay, let's do it. But since no one wanted to risk their own bases for this, because, you know, 2B to T, they asked me to pick a place, to choose a location that we could start base from scratch. And since I liked uh, mountain biomes, I picked a location near the ocean with a mountain biome, and that's where we met. But at the start, we didn't have a name for it. I Hinder and Cold Wave and Night Vista, they arrived there first before me, which which was weird because I would only understand that later because Hitler was closer to those coordinates than my base, but at the time didn't know that. But they were already there when I arrived there, and they named it Place Punch Republic or some shit like that. And okay, I don't care. Let's have fun. And fun we had, a lot of fun. We built a base where more people started to come in. Code Wave would invite a bunch of his in real life friends, and we had a great time. We just had a great time, but we really didn't we didn't have a name for it at start. Really didn't. The only thing we had was a symbol, which was the eagle, and that's it. And even the eagle, I think Valkyria had more swastikas than eagles because of Hitlerwood, right? And yeah, we didn't have a name at first. The name appeared later as a suggestion that I did, and it just stuck because I think people enjoyed saying Valk, you know, for short. It's better than Face Punch Republic or some crap that they made up.
Those evil Valks, you know,
What?
those evil schemy Valks
Oh yeah,
destroying
but
the server.
oh, but yeah, we didn't had a name at first. But yeah, we had a lot of fun. Uh, Valkyria was eventually destroyed, right? We just moved on to another place, and we would continue making bases. Then at 2014, I took a break. It was too much. Asgard 1 had just failed because Pop Pop showed up. And the funny thing is that when Pop Pop showed up at Asgard 1, he didn't griff it. The place simply was abandoned. No one even, he didn't even care to destroy it. I think, I don't know, I think he wasn't there to destroy it. I think he wanted to join us. Call me crazy, but I don't know why he didn't destroy it. We simply left, and to my surprise, some guy M or X, yeah, I think his name is M or X. He was doing this journey to BT to all the the old known bases, and when he got to Asgard 1, and he sent me back the screenshots of the place because I was curious about the current state. Everything was the same. Nothing changed. Was nothing destroyed. Nothing was griefed, and that was really weird to see that Pop Pop didn't finish up the place. But then again, we were just starting the base. He was literally starting, and then Pop Pop showed up, and then the whole thing just was over. And then I took a break, and then I returned uh, for the biome update. I would build while that I would build Fenrir with Pyrobyte, just just the two of us. But problem is that BGT went through some bad times with lag, and it was literally unplayable. I don't know if you remember this, but
What time was it?
I think it was between almost 2015. It was a time you remember 3B 3T.
Yes, yes.
Yes, when that server was around, it was exactly around the time that 2BT was literally unplayable.
hmm That's one of the reasons I
Because
joined it because lag
yeah,
on
yeah,
2B2T
yeah,
was
it
so
was literally
bad.
unplayable because there was this lag spikes that would happen each 5 seconds that wouldn't let you do shit. So everyone moved to 3B 3T, and I took the opportunity, right? Since it was a new map, a new location, I decided to take risks. I decided to, you know, just meet new people, and it paid off because I met a lot of good people on 3BC. We made the biggest base the server had, the short-lived server. We made the biggest base there was, which was Nova. I met Kalesi, I met James Rustles, I met Henry, I met Silver Crown King, I met so many people there, and it was a good time too. So when the old map, I mean, when 2BTT managed to fix the lag problem, let's face it, it's never fixed. Lag is forever, always present. But when things got better, uh, we decided to, you know, reunite at the old map, and I invited them to Fenrir, all of them. I mean, most of them. I invited them there, and Fenrir gained new life because of this. Because there was not a lot of people there, but when I brought the Nova crew to that base, the base exploded with buildings. I mean, Coconut would build this huge Eiffel Tower replica, and James Rustles would build his home. Kalesi would literally revamp the entire base infrastructure. It was great. Um, it really opened way for Asgard too, and we all know how that ended. And after Asgard 2, there was Turn Incursion, and that was it. I decided that I had enough, that I was too tired, too stressed out to keep, you know, managing bases, managing people, and I just decided that it was enough. I would do the essay address. I don't know if you know this. If you watched in video, there was a base that I made called essay address in a snow biome.
Yeah.
It was my last. That was the last base I made, and it didn't go well because there was a debate because people thought it was too far, too close, too far, but also too close to the highway. I was like, what? It's not too close to the highway. And I was right because the base survived all these years untouched. So yeah, but it didn't go well, so I just decided to take a break. And I would only return again for the whole June of 2016 Russia stuff.
So, okay. I would like to know more about the incursions and how those came about, sort of your involvement over the course of 2B2T in each one.
my involvement. Well, the guy who suggested the first incursion was GD. I think that's what he called Hinder GD. Yeah, he was a guy from Face Punch. We were building out Valkyrie, right? And we pretty much built and duped everything we wanted. We built everything we wanted. We dupe a lot of shit, and we were bored. So Hinder made a suggestion that we should go to spawn and do a little terrorizing around. I work okay. I wasn't very confident with the idea because I wasn't that good at PvP at the time. I was very insecure about going in combat. Uh, and but I went on with it. Everyone did. I mean, we all went to spawn. I mean, Drew went to spawn. I went to spawn. Pyro went to spawn. Hinder went to spawn. Coda went to spawn. Literally the entire, almost the entire population of Valkyria. A few stayed behind because they didn't want to go, and I can understand why. It was a shit show. The first incursion was a fucking shit show, man. A lot of people died to fall damage, right? I think Hinorana died to fall damage, and I had to save his stuff. Um, uh, at least when we got there, we cleaned house. We killed all the withers that was a spawn. We did that little public service, and at the time, spawn was very fresh because House had just removed all lava casts from spawn. He used world edit to remove all lava casts, and his spawn was flat as fuck, right? For some reason, it was also filled with pressure plates. I don't know why House did that, but he just filled the surface of spawn with pressure plates. And yeah, we decided to camp at 2K 2K, which for Hinder and Cold Wave, that place had uh, a meaning, right? They were from Space Punch, and 2K 2K was a former Face Punch base. And we decided to camp there. We stayed around 2 days, and then Jack killed me at 2K 2K. Uh, my bet was of Valkyria. I went back to Valkyria and I just didn't return because it didn't go anywhere. It wasn't even called incursion. It was an invasion. But it lasted around a week, and after that, me, Pyro, and Kinorana, we just decided that we would go out to dupe shit to make uh, a dupe stash for ourselves because we were feeling that it will be patched soon, and it was patched a few weeks after that. But the second incursion was I wasn't playing with the when it started because the spark that started the second incursion was a video from Inge. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's a video game website. How do you pronounce that?
Oh, hold on a sec. Oh, IGN.
IGN, yeah. They made a video not about GPT but about seven wonders of Minecraft, and one of them was stupidity spawn. Believe it or not, and that brought a lot of attention to the server. A lot of new facts at spawn. I mean, who the fuck was I? I just started playing. I just started playing a couple months before. I wasn't anywhere near old fact. But still, we went to spawn and we killed a bunch of dudes. Um, I came back to BT and Pyrobite whispered me, "Hey, come to spawn. There's some shit going on. You need to be here." And I went there. They were already working on a spawn base, and there was new facts everywhere. I never seen spawn so lively like that. I don't think I don't think that's possible to recreate even today because of the queue. There was a lot of people running around naked, and literally took advantage of that to have a lot of fun. And after that, there was also a Reddit post that was made about BTC. It got a lot of traction, and it also brought more players to BTC. So we stayed at spawn for a bit longer. We got in contact with XCC2, and we helped him to protect NFA from new players, because when he wasn't online, some new players would go there and sack the place, steal all the goods. Because NFA at the time was amazing because it had everything. I don't know if you have seen screenshots, but NFA was like a paradise, and it was only 800 blocks from spawn. That blew my mind, man. It had horses, it had all the crops, it had, you know, all these amazing buildings intact. But then I would understand why the guy repaired the base 100 times, man. He repaired the base so many times that I think he lost count. But yeah, the place was amazing, and we decided that we would protect it, and protect we did. We pretty much killed people and protect NFA. I would come up with the spawn beacon. I would also place the eagles at spawn, and it was a lot of fun. The problem is that the second incursion lasted too long. We stayed at spawn for too much. We got exhausted, and yeah, we just lost interest eventually, and it took a bit of time to have another incursion, like almost 2 years, which was the third. The third was um, it was how do I describe it? It was like a payback time. You know, we just had lost Oscar 2. There were some people laughing at us. Papa was laughing at us. I remember some other people laughing at us. That made me very mad. That made me very mad. That was the first time in Speed that I was actually fucking upset for real. I could feel my heart like pumping because I was enraged, man. I was enraged, and there was a problem. We didn't know who did it, right? To this day, it's still a mystery. We don't know who did it, but and exactly for that, I was fearful that since we didn't know who did it, and we didn't had a and the prospect of a new base was something, you know, sketchy. We didn't know if we didn't know who made it, who leaked the codes, it could happen again, right? And I just decided to make an incursion instead of a new base because it's spawn. I don't care if you leak the codes. It's fucking spawn. So it was like my way to solve the problem of the leaks. I just kept everyone together. I mean, almost. Some people didn't go to spawn, but I started incursion. We went spawn. I made a few plans. The plan was make uh, obsidian base. Very humble, very humble. Nothing big, nothing extravagant. But then Pyrobyte came with his imps and chests, with stools and other crap, and pretty much made what was supposed to be a humble obsidian base into something fucking gigantic, right? He, the whole thing, the whole incursion just was better than I was expecting, better than everyone was expecting. It was still stressful as fuck. It was stressful as shit. I was still on edge, right? We actually had our few experience with each other at the third incursion, and like I told you before, I was mad as fuck. I was on edge the whole time, and I would only really calm down and come back to myself when the whole thing ended because I placed a deadline for it to end, And when the whole thing ended, I was just, I was relieved. I was just relieved. And that was the third incursion. It was great, but it was also stressful. The fourth incursion, it wasn't as much on my shoulder as the third because Oftopia was also a leader and uh, Fit was also a leader. And there was, I mean, at the time when the first incursion happened, people didn't want the whole leadership thing, you know. They were sketchy about having me as a leader. It was okay, we can do this decentralized way. We can have multiple leaders. I don't care. Let's just do this because people were getting ganked by the resistance at spawn. Old fags were being killed by new fags, and we wouldn't have that, right? Bernsey had already died to them. Some people were being ganked too, and so we decided to put a stop to that. We put ourselves together, to put our shit together, and we made a decent incursion happen. And yeah, we Oftopia, through a contact of his. To this day, I don't know who the fuck we was. Was Oftopia had a guy that socially engineered and also hacked the passwords of one of the resistance members' Skype, and through that we had complete control of everything they were doing, right? And Oftopia, of course, at the time he didn't reveal all of those details to us. He just said he just would give us the codes for us to go, and we would go, right? And we managed to destroy three of the stashes, because at the time there was a dupe, but we destroyed their supply line. We we fought them spawn. We won. They retreated. It was a success. But then Crystal PvP happened, and our own people started to die, and we also had to retreat from spawn. So it was a half victory because if in one side we won against the resistance, we made them retreat from spawn, we destroyed their station, all that crap. We also would lose control of spawn over some naked kid, some naked with crystals and bad bombs and all that crap. So that was the fourth incursion. The fifth incursion I wasn't part of, so I cannot speak for that. But from what I hear, it was a failure because of the lack of vision. And the sixth incursion I was a part of, at least at the start. Uh, it was it was perhaps the best incursion because it was extremely challenging because there was never been made an event before with so many people involved. It was like the incursion Discord had like 100 people, more than 100 people, and I was like, how the fuck are we going to coordinate all these people together to make something coherent, something that would, you know, be interesting? And to my surprise, everyone just worked together. There was no problems. There was no internal fighting. There was no issues. Literally, really, we it was a good incursion. We had a lot of fun. We made the obsidian wall art spawn, which was the project of the previous incursion, but this time we actually made it happen. And after that, there was a seven incursion, which I didn't take part of. I was there in the Discord as an advisor, and I watched the whole shit show going on. I watched the whole thing happen. But yeah, I wasn't a part of the incursion in game. It's just on Discord, just to give advice or try to give my insights, and that was it. That's my that's my experience with incursions.
So, okay, while we're sort of on the topic of incursions, the seventh
What?
incursion, the most recent one. Uh,
Yeah.
in your opinion, how do you think that failed, and like what should have been done to not make it fail?
uh, seven incursion. Well, I'm not gonna say that it's all Jared's fault, but it's mostly Jared's fault. Okay. He plotted against his friends. You know, the people he worked together with in the previous one. Yeah, he plotted against those people. And he fabricated evidence just to make himself look good and persuade public opinion. When I mean public opinion, I mean the incursion opinion, right? The members to his side. And yeah, he ruined. I mean, the incursion wasn't going okay because I don't know. I guess the leaders were not really doing their part, or maybe people were just too distracted by other things. I don't know. I don't know what went wrong in that regard, but I know that the Jared betrayal was what really ended the whole thing because it just became a shit show after that. And the incursion leaders, you know, Henry, Diotai, Dark Emperor, all those people, they just decided to end the whole thing. And, you know, we're gonna end it here because we're not gonna risk continue this and fragmenting the community further. So we're just gonna end this here. But Jared had other plans, right? He wanted all the attention to himself. Clearly, that was his whole objective with the plotting and the scheming. And he got what he wanted. He got his little incursion, his little party at spawn, right? And but even that, we were predicting that it would fall to the ground because Jared, he doesn't calculate the risks he takes. You know, he's very retarded in that regard. And it happened at the fifth incursion. You know, they built obsidian wall with they had an ambitious project in the fifth incursion, and I can respect that. But they didn't have enough people to build it in time, and they didn't have the foresight to see that withers were enabled. I mean, Jared was a griefer, man. He knew that withers were enabled. He knows that withers destroy obsidian. What the fuck? And still they went out with the plan of making obsidian wall run spawn. What happened? Well, the Aurora people decided to turn the fucking wall to Swiss cheese, and that was the end of incursion. That absolutely destroyed the morale of his incursion, the fifth incursion, and it's all on his account. He likes to say the excuse that he wasn't around when it happened. But, but what you were not around the whole time? Like, come on, man. And yeah, he doesn't take risks in consideration. And he had his own incursion in the seven, right? He betrayed incursion. He made his own incursion, and we were predicting that he would eventually fuck up as he always does, and that would end the whole thing. And fuck up, he did. He probably run out of ideas on what to do with incursion, and he just decided to use the incursion to incite Imperium, without taking into consideration that his incursion was formed by some Imperium members. When Dark Emperor uh, became aware of the whole thing, he revealed what Jared was trying to do to his faction, and as a consequence, I don't remember who it was. Do you remember who it was that destroyed his Discord
Wait, who's
server?
Discord?
Jared
Jared's.
incursion.
I'm not sure. I just know that he got reported by a lot of people. I, mean, I don't know who. I can't confirm whether it was old incursion members or what.
No, 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 no. It wasn't reported. There was an admin on that Discord that literally banned everyone from Discord.
I thought his account was terminated.
I don't know. What I heard that wasn't an Imperium kit that literally banned the whole incursion Discord, and that absolutely destroyed the morale of the little morale it had was destroyed after that. But yeah, it was instant karma, man. Jared was made a dumb move, and you know what they say: play stupid games, win stupid prizes. And Jared won that fucking game. He won. He he won a big fucking stupid prize, right? And he's mad. He's fucking mad. He's raging harder than ever because I never seen Jared like this. I mean, the Jared I knew back in the day, he was a goof. He was a loose cannon. He wasn't this salty, vengeful, you know, I am a mastermind kind of Jared. He changed and he's mad as fuck because he's going after everyone on the Imperium, and he's
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask
even
about next. His Imperium Crusade. What are your thoughts
yeah
on that whole
he's
situation?
he he
Guess
he,
very
he he's
recent.
faking his he's faking this moral crusade after Imperium, claiming they are cancer and that they need to be purged from stupidity. Like, what the fuck? The only person who is cancer who needs to be fucking purged from stupidity is Jared, man. Imperium is a faction. I mean, okay, they might have done some questionable things, but they were not the only one who did those questionable things. And if Jared did far more questionable things, and he is still doing far more questionable things than Imperium has done. So uh, he's enraged, right? Because his incursion, his little incursion got ruined, and he's very mad, very enraged. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know. That's what I think. You ask me about what went wrong with the cyber incursion. I think it was mostly on Jared's account.
So
That's
I want to start getting into some of the juicy stuff, if you want to say. I feel that
okay.
this. Yeah, don't get too worried, but also get really worried. Um, I like to think of this interview as me speaking for the community, kind of speaking to you, asking the hard questions that maybe you don't really want to address, or you
okay.
don't. Yeah,
Okay.
I
No,
mean,
no.
yeah, you know
Shoot.
what I mean. Um, so yeah, that's what I want this to be. So I want to start off asking sort of the simpler question of public opinion on you. A lot of people say that you're very arrogant and egocentric. What do you think about those kinds of claims for people?
Uh, I don't know, man. I mean, people have the right to see me that way, but I don't see myself that way. I don't see myself as arrogant. I think that that's probably coming from the fact that uh, back in the day, I wasn't exactly kind with criticism, but at the same time, to BGC was not a place where people give you a constructive criticism. They absolutely fucking bash you in the head. So when I was when I would reply to those criticisms, I would deliver this in the same fucking coin, in the same fucking price. And but I think the whole arrogant thing comes from the fact that I made mistakes in the past regarding the timeline, regarding some things I wrote, and I own those mistakes. I actually talk about one of those mistakes in my latest video, that I made a mistake of uh, guessing how history will play out twice. And that was a moment that I was biased, definitely biased. I just left myself. be influenced by what was happening, and I made a mistake. I fixed those mistakes, but you know, people will never forget that shit. So yeah, I think the whole arrogant thing is because of that. It's because I made mistakes in the past, but man, I'm human. You know, people make mistakes, and honestly, uh, through these years, I just stopped caring about what people think of me because this is stupidity, man. You'll never be able to be everyone's friends. You'll never be able to please everyone. Nothing you do, no matter how much of a good thing you do, there will always be someone to bash you. There will always be someone to, you know, call you things and just, yeah, that.
So I want to ask your history with the base KGB, how you ended up being at the base, and sort of what happened with that situation.
Okay. KGB was a base that Branilon. I'm just on Gali Bran. He was part of the base. He had made a base before that called King's Landing, right? Very very famous base, very beautiful base. And problem is that King's Landing was it had a lot of people that um they were autists. Yeah, a lot of them were autists. A lot of them were people with problems, with issues, and I mean they had Drew, they had Tristan, which Tristan had just go fucking nuts because Tristan was my friend, man. He was our friend. He was part of Fenry. He was part of Nova. He was part of uh, Asgard 2. And he was part of the third incursion. But during the third incursion, something snapped on him. And he just turned to Nair Inc. I don't know what went wrong with him, but he was a kind person, but he suddenly changed. He really became someone way more bitter than I could possibly think he could be. But yeah, King's Landing was a place that had a lot of people, and when I told Bran about what I thought about the base, I told him this base is gonna fail because something will eventually get fucked up. People will not, you know, you're not gonna relate too well, and that's what happened. You know, uh, I think people would because Oromonger was at the base, and you know how everyone loved Oromonger, right? Oh yeah, everyone absolutely loved Oromonger, and they would create problems for Oromonger. They would eventually kill Oromonger. But regardless, Bran invited me to King's Landing, and I said no because Papa was there, and Papa had already made a lot of troubles for me in the past, and I said no, I don't want to base with that guy. I don't want to be near him. And the feeling was mutual because when Pop-Up heard that Bran invited me to KGB, he said that I showed up, he would blow the entire place up. So yeah, I didn't go to King's Landing. Time passes. KGB happens with a whole new crew. I mean, some people that were at King's Landing ended up being KGB. Ormgonger was a KGB. Drew was a KGB, and that was fine. I even started talking again with Drew. We even started, uh, you know, talk with each other respectfully at the very least. And I went there. Jack the Ripper was there. Jack brought me there, and I I wasn't I didn't have enough time to do a lot. I went there. I picked a nice place for me to build. I started making the wall, and then the whole thing blew up. The whole Skype thing. Uh, Bran was had talked to us to not log in onto BTT for the next days because the next update would bring an exploit. and he said he couldn't reveal a lot of details. And we're okay, we're gonna trust you on this. You know, maybe he was right. And we didn't log in onto BTT for like a day or two. At the time, we didn't understood why, but Jack was aware of what was happening, right? Because Bran told Jack, and Jack simply, you know, told what was happening because even Jack was worried because Bran was promising some shit that was insane. He was promising ward edit powers. He was promising over enchanted weapons. He was promising, a lot of shit because he was friends with Tristan, right? They were friends in real life. At least we understand. And when the whole thing blew up, when Jack leaked the whole thing, uh, the base was over. The base was simply over because Tristan would arrive at KGP and he would grief the place along with someone else. I don't remember who was, but it's on the uh, Operation Overmonger video, the footage of them griefing KGP. But yeah, after that, we decided to investigate what the fuck was going on, what the fuck was happening in the background that we were not aware of. And that's when the whole backdoor theory started to blow up. We started to investigate. And as we investigated, some weird shit was going on. People's stashes were being raided, bases were being destroyed. You know, people started to show up with over enchanted weapons. And then we realized what was going on. Eventually, we would find out the truth. But it took a long time to actually realize what was happening. But the truth was far more serious than a backdoor. It was far worse. And yeah, KGB was the start of all that. I went there to build, man.
So,
I went,
okay,
I just went there to build.
yeah,
And
I want to address some of the things that you mentioned when you were telling me that. So,
okay,
Jack invited you to the base. What pretenses were that under? Was it just him inviting you, or did he talk
no,
to the
no,
other
no, no,
base
no, no, no,
mates?
no. Jack brought me there. He took my my out account. I gave him the password, and he brought me there through the the batch travel exploit. There was a time,
Yeah.
and I didn't know how to write the whole thing, and he did it for me, and he brought me there. But Bran invited me. He even invited me to the Skype group. I was a part of that legitimately. I wasn't clandestine. I wasn't brought there by Jack without people agreeing. I was there with Brands agreeing, with everyone was agreeing with me. Even Drew, I was talking again with Drew.
So
Which was
everybody, so
surprising
everybody
because
wanted you. Everyone wanted you
Drew
there.
was willing to put difference aside for us to pay the KGB, and I was fine with it. Okay, you
So
wanna?
everybody wanted you at KGB.
I don't know if everyone was, but I don't see any reason why people wouldn't. You know, I never wronged any base that I was a part of, so I don't think people saw a problem with me being there. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And now you also mentioned that there was the whole backdoor situation and all of that. What are your thoughts on backdooring and sort of the agenda of the tyranny during that time?
I mean, backdooring is not a good thing. Definitely not a good thing. It happened. I mean, it wasn't really a backdoor. What happened, right? There was a password leak, which they used, took advantage of that. Uh, Pop backdoor to BGT. He used the backdoor to benefit himself and his friends. He spawned some stuff like stacked armor and stacked harm potions. And but yeah, he used the backdoor to the benefits. of himself and his friends, and that's to be expected, right? And Parabite and Tristan with backdoor ability again. In I don't know where he was, but uh, they were more stealth about it. You know, they were really silent about it. On a good part, they actually spawned some fun shit, like the player heads. Yeah, they made that. They also made the first over enchanted weapons, but they were so powerful that some of them would crash to BGT, and they just didn't use them. They also spawned a couple more things, but yeah, it was mostly, it was a backdoor, but it didn't have a lot of consequence, like the one Bob Bob made, which made him a god, and fuck, he made good use of that. And the George Bush 420 leak was, uh, you know, Tristan made full use of that too. He weaponized the whole thing to his favor and the favor of his friends. And unlike Pop Bob, he also made you. I mean, Pop Bob used the backdoor to fuck with a few people, but Tristan went on a fucking inquisition, right? Tristan went on a fucking inquisition against everyone he didn't like, everyone who he had a grudge with. He would fuck with people all over to BTT. Like Silver Crown King, for example, had his stash destroyed, and before that happened, Tristan would whisper him some shady things. 2 days later, and then he found out that his stash was destroyed. At the time, we didn't understood why or how he did that, but yeah, he Tristan made full use of that to fuck with the people he didn't like. It was revenge time for Tristan,
So
especially revenge against the people who leaked the whole thing, right?
yeah.
Jack, he destroyed Space Valkyria, he destroys the lands. Revenge against me. Tristan destroyed my stash that I had with Pyro and Kinrana, and it was revenge. It was revenge time for Tristan. Uh, and yeah, that
So
that's
this
that's
kind
it.
of leads me to ask you, uh, do you think you have maybe like a backdooring double standard where it's okay that Pyro gives you stuff, but if anybody else spawns in stuff, it's automatically bad?
I was always against things. The whole thing is that Pyro never told me he had a backdoor until the backdoor was over. And I was his best friend on Twitter, and he didn't let me know. Just so you understand how stealth the whole thing was, he didn't let me know. I would only find out later because he told me, and he would give me a power 10 bow. Power 10. You would expect that to be powerful. It's not. It's shit. Like the sword made more damage than the bow. So that was the only legal item he gave me. And but even before that, right? Because he showed me his sword. The 666. You ever heard about that one?
Yeah.
The Yeah, the famous 666. He showed me that and was like, "What the fuck?" And he told me this can kill anyone instantly. And he said he wouldn't use it. He wouldn't use this too much because he was afraid that House would take that from him. And a couple of days later, I would, you know, go into Face Punch back when Face Punch still existed, when a 2v2 Face Punch, and I would say that, and I let people know that the things that happen with this backdoor, because the backdoor by now was a common knowledge, right? The things that were spawned with this backdoor would make stacked harm potions look like a joke. And I made that warning on the face punch. If you look at the trees, you eventually will find that post where I said exactly these words. This This backdoor makes PvP with stacked potions or it look like a joke because it was. Pyro had the power to kill anyone instantly if he wanted, and he did that a couple times with the sword. I would be being hypocrite, say if you know, I didn't thought that was wrong, but again, he was my friend. Pyro was like a brother to me because I don't think the word friend really describes how we felt for each other. I saw him as a brother, man, and you will always love your brother. No matter how much the wrong things they do, you know. And yeah, that's my take on it.
So Pyro never gave you any illegal items while it was a thing, while it
Just
was
that bow,
just the bow.
just that bow. Yeah, and
Okay.
he wasn't, and I was expecting like, oh shit, I'm gonna one shot people with this. No, no, it was crap. It was absolute crap. I could kill people faster with the sword. So it was nothing.
Um. Okay.
I mean, there was a time. Just let me finish.
Yeah.
There was a time that Pyro died at spawn. He fell through a hole all the way to bedrock, and he died. He dropped 666, and I would go there. I would get his sword, and he asked me to keep all my end chests until he could get it back. But he never got it back, right? He Because the incursion was over, and after the incursion, he just stopped playing. He eventually stopped coming online, and I never had the chance to give that his sword back to him. I eventually gave the sword to Jack the Ripper. I passed the sword to him because he said he wanted to dupe it, but how's he placed a plugin that killed the sword. The sword returned to be just a common sword, and that was the end of 66. But yeah, I held the sword. I held the sword for a short time, and I used it to kill someone. Guess who?
I can't. I can't think of who it might be.
It was Jared 2014. But that wasn't Jared. That wasn't Jared because that account has been leaked, right? And Drew was using it that day, and I killed him because he refused to say who he was. And obviously, I don't want people that I don't know around me, so I just killed him instantly. That was my last kill on the third incursion before the whole thing was over. That was my only moment that I used 666.
So
That's
I
it.
I think this is a really good segue into the next sort of segment that I want to get into.
Okay.
So why did you and Drew fall out in the first place? What was your whole kind of dynamic even before that falling out?
Man, um, um,
It's just
Drew
it's one of
was,
those infamous rivalries on 2B, you know?
yeah, yeah, I know. Our Fallout kind of became very known, kind of like a fucking opera drama. But yeah, Drew was my friend. He was literally my first friend. When I started playing Speed C, I was in Anatolia. I was bored, right? And I was feeling lonely. And then I saw this guy in chat, saying some funny things. That's all I can remember. Uh, in your interview, he said that I was begged, I was begging for people to join my base in public chat, and that's a fucking lie. I was very careful actually because back in the day when you joined BTC, you know what the message was, the server message that appeared in the chat every time you joined. It
Wasn't
said,
it like don't
"Trust,
trust anybody or trust no one?
yeah, trust no one,"
Yeah.
just to make you relax. And and I would trust no one. Drew was literally the first person that I would whisper and talk to, and we would continue talking and talking and talking. I would eventually, okay, this guy's cool. I'm gonna invite him to my base. I'm gonna try this. If he come here, kill me, and destroy the base, I'm gonna lose a few days of work, right? Doesn't matter. So I took the risk. Drew came. He complained about the distance. The base, he said the base was too far, but he came.
This
And
was Anatolia, right?
yes, my first base, yeah. And he and I mean, we were fine with each other. You know, he didn't destroy the base. He obviously was became part of it. He was far more experienced than I was. Like I literally started learning how to play advanced Minecraft onto BTT. I didn't know what grinders were. You know, spawner grinders. I didn't know what that was. He taught me what it was. And at the time, I remember that I saw him like some tech guy. He was so much better than I was. He knew how to make it more strong enchantments. He knew how to make blaze grinders. He knew how to make skeleton grinders. And the whole thing looked like, you know, rocket science to me because I was a fucking noob. And I would learn a lot from him. We became real friends, and everything was good. And then Drew suggested, I don't know who suggested. I don't know if it was him or me. I don't remember. It was a long time to invite someone else, you know, like a third person. And he knew Parabyte, so we invited him, and that was good too. Pyro, I mean, Pyro wasn't really a builder. Throughout his history, Pyro didn't build a lot of things on BTC. He built something on Fenrir. He built something on Valkyria, but he never quite finished it. He wasn't a builder. He was something else. Pyro interest was in coding and making his own hacker client. I mean, back in the day at Anatolia, he was already making it. He was already working on his client, Vapid. And yeah, things were fine. We became friends. It was good. It was really good. We eventually got bored of being Anatolia, and Pyro suggested we should go to spawn and explore some bases, grief some places. And I said, okay. We too went there because Drew wasn't online in time. Drew eventually catch it up to us, and he also came to spawn. We made a little base at spawn called Argo Outpost, and we found a couple bases. We griefed some, we spared some. It was nice. It was a good time to be at BT because it was my first experience with exploring the server and with interacting with people. But yeah, I mean, Drew was my friend, man. I had a lot of respect for him. I saw him as even as a mentor back then because he taught me so much shit about BT. And not about BT, about Minecraft itself, you know, because I was a noob. And eventually the things I would come naturally with the whole Minecraft thing. And eventually the tech mem happened. I met with the crew of Hitlerwood. We made Valkyria and Drew got to Valkyria. Drew built a 3-layer farm on Valkyria to save space with the crops. It was really nice uh, and really useful too. And but from Valkyria, everything started to fall out. And to this day, I'm still confused because I think Drew has problems in real life. You know, he has some mental problems because
Mm-hmm.
I I couldn't see past the Drew I knew, right? I was too enveloped by the friendship to see his true persona. But I should have seen what his true persona when we went to visit one of his friends' base, Doa Jared. Not the Jared, it's another Jared named Doa Jared. and it was a place close to spawn, right? We went to visit. He wanted to show me the place. He said he based there for a couple of times, and he burned the whole place up. We could burn it. I was like, why? Isn't this your friend's place? And no, he doesn't mind. And we burned the place. It was like a tree base. He had a lot of trees. I still have the screenshot of that place. And yeah, we burned the whole place up. And that I should have seen that as a red warning, but I didn't. I thought he was being sincere. To this day, I don't know if Dowager was fine with that or not. But after that, well, I mean that was way before Valkyrie. But when Valkyrie happened, Drew started to become upset, and I don't know why he was upset. He, I don't know. Maybe it was because of the swastikas that the Hitler would brought in. I don't know, but Drew didn't seem to me the kind of person that was sensitive about that kind of stuff because you know he's not that sensitive. So he had to be someone else because problems started to happen regarding Drew because places would be burned at Valkyria, right? Wooden houses, wooden storages, and even a wool art that we made. And funny enough, Drew was the only witness to all of those fire accidents. And he always had the same excuse. Oh, it was the thunder. The thunder struck those places and burned the place up. There was only one problem is that when thunder strikes, it's usually raining, and the rain puts the fire away almost immediately. If it wasn't for that, the forest of the game would catch fire constantly, right? So his excuse was no one bought that excuse. But I think that out of respect for me, I people didn't attack Drew. People didn't, you know, made a whole thing about that. It was just some. I mean, after all, it wasn't that big of a loss, right? It was just some weird places. We couldn't make them better. We started to actually use more stone in the buildings after that and less wood. And but yeah, people didn't start to not like Drew because of that. And I would defend Drew through the entire place. I would, you know, tell them to have patience and I would talk to Drew. Drew wouldn't confess anything. He wouldn't say anything. He would keep using the thunder excuse. And I'm okay, that's fine. And after when the dupe came, and Kinorana was the one who brought the dupe to us, to Valkyria. He was the one who taught us how to do things. And Drew was really excited about that. He wanted to do uh, wither skulls. He even brought some to be duped, and we duped them. But while the whole dupe thing was going on, there was a, a conflict between him and Kinorana because while Kinorana was duping, uh, he started to notice that some armor sets were starting to disappear, and Drew was the only one around, messing with things. And he blamed Drew, of course. Drew said no, it wasn't me, and Kinorana would start to slap the shit out of him through Valkyria. He would, with his sword just smashing Drew, and Drew would run away from him. It was kind of like a scene from Tom and Jerry. It was really funny, but I told them to stop. They stopped, and yeah. But Drew, he became hurt from that, and he left Valkyria. He just left. He decided to make his own base. We would continue talking. We would continue talking through whispers. I would uh, talk to him, how ask how he was, how his base was. We were friends, man. And after when the whole first incursion happened, the first invasion, I told him to come to spawn with us, and he did. He left his own base to meet us at spawn. We met there, and while at 2K2K, Drew made something else that displeases everyone because we had this naked new fag at 2K2K called Trodan, right? And Trodan was he was just a new fag. He was not a threat to anyone. We were kind of treating him like our pet. We would give him some diamonds and some shit, so get him some basic gear, and Drew would kill him for no reason. Literally, he would just get there and kill him. Everyone was, "What the fuck, dude? Why you do that?" He just killed him, and okay, we told him to come back. He would give him his stuff back, and then when Troden came back, Drew killed him and burned his stuff. He killed him again and burned his stuff, and everyone we just got fucking pissed at Drew, and Drew just left the place. No one attacked Drew. You just let him go. And yeah, a couple uh, days after that, maybe weeks. I think it was a week. Valkyria was withered. Someone spawned some withers of Valkyria, used some TNT. It wasn't that much damage, but it was enough to, condemn the base. And guess who everyone blamed? Just take a guess. Yeah.
Probably Drew Bookman
Mm,
himself.
yeah. Yeah. Everyone immediately pointed at him, and with good reason, right? And I would talk to Drew that day. I was at Anatolia that day, right? I wasn't at Valkyrie when it happened. And Drew would talk to me. He would eventually come clean with me. Said he did it because, the reason why people suspected of him is not just because of all the things he did before, but because remember the three-layer farms I talked in the beginning that he built?
Mm-hmm.
It was intact. Every other place in the blaze was trashed except his farm. So obviously everyone knew it was Drew. So I talked to Drew and he came clean to me and he I told him why he did it that and he told me that he wanted us to go back the way it was. He had hopes that by griefing Valkyria it would be just me, him and Pyro again. And I felt really sad about that. I felt crushed. He asked me for my forgiveness. I forgave him because I don't know, I didn't felt mad. I just felt I just felt sad because I don't know what was going on with Drew, but he definitely wasn't feeling okay. He definitely was feeling abandoned, and I forgave him for that. But I told him and I warned him that that's me. I forgive you, but others might not forgive you. And I don't think he took my advice because Hinder would convince Drew that they were good, and Hinder would say, tell Drew that he wants to base with him at his base, and Drew would give him his cords. What happened after that is that Drew would, uh, Hinder would arrive there with Cold Wave and Night Vista, and they would kill Drew, destroy the duplicate he had there, and destroy the base, and they killed him. Here's a picture of the moment. You know, you can see in the chat the moment it happened. You can see that everyone is cheering. Everyone cheered at his death. Troden The guy from 2K cheered, Kinorana, Mr. Hero, Hinder Deek, everyone was, except me. I was
Hmm.
just silent. I mean, look at the name on the wall. Look at where I was. It was fucking crushing because I didn't want this. I didn't want this whole thing. I wish things could have gone differently, but I wasn't feeling proudful, prideful about this whole situation. I was feeling like shit. But yeah, in but the problem is that Drew, because I don't think he foresee the consequences of his acts. Because after he destroyed Valkyria, the whole thing backfired at him really fucking bad. Because Drew couldn't manage to find base mates anymore. You know, he couldn't manage to find people to base with because no one would trust him. No one would want him around because the whole thing just spread like fire. And let me tell you, Valkyria back in the day, we had 1/4 of the community activity, right? So there was 20 people online. Well, Valkyria had 5 of those 20. So we were a big portion of the server back then, and he just couldn't find anyone to base with. He eventually got bored, and he stopped playing 2BT for quite some time. Uh, when he returned, though, Valkyria was rebuilt. Uh, we started talking again. We, uh, you know, I, I would mainly ask how he was, if he was okay. You know, he said yes. We would just become friends again through whispers, right? We were even planning to base together again. And I was making a project near Valkyria at the time. It was the Valkyria Council building. I don't know if you've seen pictures of it, but it's a building near Valkyria that's full of beacons. And I was making that. My name was there. My name was on it. And as I was talking to Drew through whispers, I went back there to continue improving the place. And to my shock, Drew was there. I saw Drew on my radar. And I was like, "What the fuck?" And when I free camped to see what was going on, I saw that he had, you know, griefed the place a bit, and I was
Wait, what?
immediately enraged.
Anatolia or
No,
Valkyria?
this Valkyria Council building, the council
Uh,
building.
okay.
Here's a picture of the place. You can show the video to show. He where that obsidian piece of shit is. There was a white tree with white wall and uh, quartz that I made, and he replaced with obsidian, and he changed the signs. The sign had my name, so he knew I made that, and I was so fucking mad, man, because I thought we were friends. I thought we would base together again. I thought that Drew, you know, had just let the past go with the whole Valkyrie thing, but clearly he had, uh, I don't know, maybe he thought that I was part of the problem, and he was griefing the place. I immediately went there, got all the way up there, slapped him a couple of times with the sword. He jumped the building and used Spawn TP. I don't know if you remember this. Spawn TP was exploit at the time that allowed you to instantly return to spawn. Some clients had that ability. It was exploit. It was a really good exploit, and he just vanished. And I didn't understand why. Then I realized, oh fuck, he spawned TP, and yeah, he escaped. But I was fucking mad. That was one of the moments of the BT, just like after the Griffin of Kids that I was raging. I was raging hard. Like I actually have the picture of me questioning Drew. I would really go on chat and call him out. What the fuck was going on? Why you did that? You can check the chat box, and I would, he didn't say anything. He just didn't reply to me. Which I was talking to him just a few moments ago through whispers, and suddenly he went silent. I don't know if he was too ashamed or he was just running away at spawn to not get caught. I don't know. But after that, I just wouldn't trust him again. Never again. I wouldn't listen to a single word he had to
So
boast.
I want to backtrack a little bit.
Okay.
Um, how did Anatolia get griefed?
Uh, that was exactly after the council building thing. Uh, Drew would whisper me with threats about licking Anatolia. He would actually ask me how Anatolia was, and he would start to make threats about licking the place or destroying himself. That was his options. He would lick it or destroy it. He would lick the cords or destroy. And I was asking why. What the fuck do you want to destroy the only place we have left? And he just, he was just too autistic. There was just no motives. When I told Pyro what was going on, Pyro was fucking enraged. He just got fucking enraged because I mean, put yourself in Pyro's shoes. Drew was the one who presented me to him. Drew was the one who brought us together. And Drew eventually would, do this to me. Pyro was just fucking mad at the shit show that Drew was pulling on us. And so Pyro made the suggestion we just destroy the fucking place and blame it on Drew. And I was, it took me a few moments to decide because fuck, what was the options? The one option I would just say no and the place would be leaked and destroyed by someone else or Drew himself. Or I would go on with power plan and blame Drew. And that's what we did. Well, eventually, fuck it. At the time, I wasn't too close to Anatolia. He was closer, and he did it himself. And yeah, he spawned a couple eaters, used TNT, and just destroyed the whole thing. When people asked us what happened, we told him that Drew did it. I mean, after all, he was threatening to do it, right? So we told him Drew did it. And after that, we were free from Drew. We were free from his bullshit, free from his threats. It was just us, just me and Pyro. No more, no more trio, just the two of us. That was when we severed connections with Drew, the lax connection, and that was happening at Anatolia. And it's not a secret for a long time. But yeah.
I think we got through the difficult part. Um, a lot of the controversies and stuff.
a
So,
lot of the a lot of the spicy memes.
indeed. So, I would like to ask some closing questions. Um,
Okay.
do you still play on 2B? Like, do you still kind of hop on to build stuff, or you just
I kind of hopped on a couple weeks ago, but um, I need a new computer because the computer I have is just not standing Minecraft anymore because it's too old, it's starting to hit too much, and yeah, I cannot play Minecraft for now. He has a couple cooler problems, and
so? When was the last time you've like seriously played 2B.
Six incursion,
So we don't know what you think that I'm
which
attacking you
which
by
which
asking
was at
this,
the beginning, which was six incursion was at the beginning of this year. So that, yeah, that was the last time I played seriously.
but I want to know like why do you think that you can speak for stuff like the seventh incursion, even though you haven't played 2B during that?
Uh, Speak for the
Just
seven
stuff,
incursion.
not specifically that, but stuff like that. That stuff. Like, why do you think you can talk about stuff like that if you weren't necessarily
Yeah,
involved?
yeah, I understand now. Oh, okay, Sato does not play 2B2T for now, so he doesn't. That absolutely takes any legitimacy he has of talking. No,
Well, I think that's what a lot
that's
of people
bullshit.
think. Yeah,
Yeah, but that's bullshit. About the seven incursion, I wasn't in-game part of incursion. That's true. I was there as an advisor. I didn't do much. Okay, I can own that. But I saw the whole thing going on, and more importantly, I saw the screenshots. I saw the conversations. I saw what was going on. And I even posted the conversations along with the post I made about the seven incursion report or whatever you want to call it. So I wasn't someone, wasn't completely clueless. Just because I wasn't playing on 2B to T, it doesn't mean I wasn't aware of what was happening. I was very fucking aware of what was happening. But yeah, not playing on 2B to T doesn't mean, oh, he's not fully aware of all the details. No, it's bullshit. To me, that's bullshit. If other people think that the fact that I wasn't playing 2B to T during the server incursion completely negates everything I said, fuck it, that's okay. You have the right to think whatever you want. But I had plenty evidence on my side showing what Jared did. So yeah,
So I want to ask another question. Kind of your thoughts on big YouTubers on 2B2T making content, and then kind of what Fit's been doing with his content. Do you think that maybe he doesn't get all his facts straight, or he doesn't do enough time to prepare for the stuff that he reports on? Like, what do
I
you
mean,
think
dude,
about?
dude, man, we are humans, man. People make mistakes. Okay,
But I think when
dude,
you have a responsibility to the
fit,
community
fit,
like
fit.
that,
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, yeah, but Fit made a mistake uh, during his China video. It was a mistake. It was a dumb mistake, but it was probably a mistake I would have done too because it wasn't exactly his mistake. It was the translator mistake because if you put that the symbol that was there, it would say million, right, in the translator, but it was actually 1,000. So the Unvenom video was watched by 8 million or 86 million, I don't know, but it was watched by 86,000 people, way less than he claimed in the video. And people they immediately saw the mistake, and he immediately, you know, said that he made a mistake, he owned the mistake he did, and all stuff. But yeah, people make mistakes, man. About YouTube though, I think YouTube is necessary for 2B2T to exist at this point. I mean, the server is already 3 GB, and through the years, just gonna get bigger and bigger, which are gonna raise the cost of the server. And without the queue, with the current hardware we are using to sustain the server, either the server closes or the server downgrades. One of the two things. And the YouTubers they kind of keep feeding the queue and keep feeding uh, money to keep the server up. Now the problem that I have is that House is not very transparent about what he does with that money. or about the cost of the server, anything like that. It doesn't make us aware of what is happening. And I think he needs to change that. He needs to, share more information with us. And in regard of YouTube, that's my take. I think YouTube is a great platform to create things. And in regard to content, Fit chose to make more streams than videos, right? He changed his channel, and that's he's right. I mean, that's if he wants to make streams, who am I to say he shouldn't make streams? But I think Fit has a lot of potential as a YouTuber, as a creator, and he needs to find a way to, I think, to, I mean, when Fit channel started to get traction, right? I told him that he needed to eventually, diversify the content, make videos on other games, make videos about, I don't know, any other thing. And he did. He played other games. He played Subnautica. He made that his first map series. He tried make videos about other games, especially old games, but none of them gave him enough views to make him confident enough to follow that path. You know, he because none of those videos got enough views. So for him, it's hard to change to change content, to change the you know direction of his channel because his fan base is Minecraft fan base, you know, and that's very very difficult. But he has potential. I mean, the guy has the voice, he has the humor, he has the creativity, he has the skills. He has everything to become one of those fucking 10, 20 million YouTubers out there. Uh, and the problem is that I don't know how he's gonna pull that off. You know,
And
he
yeah,
seems to
yeah,
be
I
he
agree with
seems
you.
to
I
be
mean, yeah,
comfortable with staying with 2BGT for now. But
I mean, he definitely has that
my take on
personality
Fit
on
is
to
that
do that.
he should eventually try it again. You know,
Yeah,
try try diversify his content again
he definitely has that
somehow.
personality, that potential, like you say, to do big YouTube like that. But
Yeah, yeah.
also, in a
I
lot of
mean, have you
ways,
seen
I
him?
mean,
Have you seen him on camera? The guy is a natural, man.
yeah, but I mean,
He's a natural.
you
Some
can't
people,
you can't
some
deny
people
that
just freeze.
you
Some
can't
people just
deny that
freeze on camera.
he's using just this yellow journalism to just make up these events to where instead of doing what he wanted to in the first place, which is helping the incursion, which is to like get rid of these incoming newer players, it's almost like he's bringing them in, like by feeding content to all these people that are making videos on the server. He's only stretching out the amount of new players that are coming in. It's almost like he's turned into the villain. He's turned into what he
Okay,
was fighting.
okay. I understand what you're saying, but here's what you need to understand, Bezo, is that incursions are not made to fight YouTubers. I don't know who the fuck told you that, but incursions are not made
I
to
didn't say it
fight
was to fight YouTubers though.
YouTubers
I said it was to fight the influx of new
because
players.
I mean, when we made the fourth incursion, right, back when Russia
Mm-hmm.
invaded BDT, we clearly stated that we wouldn't go after Russia because we didn't want to give in content. We didn't want to, make the whole thing worse. We wanted to go after the resistance. That's the only reason why the incursion assembled because we were being kicked out of spawn, which was our, which for an old fag it's his natural habitat. And in the sixth incursion, we didn't go after Unvenom. We was just fucking around spawn killing players. I mean, incursions are made to bring the community together. I don't know who the fuck told. I don't know. When the seven incursion started, it wasn't about hunting down Fuser or destroying Fuser. especially because 2B2T needs people in the queue. As much as it's annoying to have the queue full, and I can understand it's annoying, and I can understand it's a hassle. I can understand that it kind of forces you to pay priority, but 2B2T needs money to survive. Without money, the server dies.
Okay, but
I mean,
Sato,
the
you
server
you
costs
see that
dies.
like these people that they're bringing in are not the community that we need on this server. Like the
I
people that are
mean,
coming from these videos are not. Yeah, they're providing money through the queue, but do we really want those
yeah,
people in our
I
community?
kinda I kinda talk about that in the previous video I made. We also had the same fear about the rushers. I mean, look at Rushers fan, man. They were kiddies. They were faction people coming from a faction server, right? We were afraid that they would destroy BTC culture. We were afraid that it would absolutely destroy the whole thing. But that didn't happen. They just adapt. The ones that stayed behind, because most just simply left, but the ones that stayed, they they learn how things are done here. They learn about the behavior. They learn about the culture. They learn about the whole 4chan thing. They just learn. I'm not gonna say that the French are gonna start speaking English, because with the French there is the language barrier, and not all of his fans can speak English. That's a problem, few fans. But uh, yeah, I think what the Russia invasion proved us that things just adapt. People just adapt.
And I
The
mean,
ones that stayed,
I wanted to go back to
yeah,
and state that I never claimed that I thought the incursion was about fighting the YouTubers. Just wanted to say that it's about fighting the influx of players from whichever platform
no,
they come
no, no.
from.
I never said that. I never said that.
Mm.
I inclusion are not about fighting the influx, because that would be fucking insane. To fight the influx,
Well, in a way
it's
where older players go to spawn, they kill players. They
it's
don't like that. They
incursions.
don't come back to the server.
Incursions. It's a moment that the community
But what do they get?
gets
What do they get
together
together to do?
around
Say
a common
what do
project.
they get together to do though?
What?
What do they get together to do though? Yeah, they get together, but what do they get together to do at spawn?
Yeah, that's where these prom projects come in. At the third incursion it was RAF. The fourth incursion was
But okay,
destroying the
what's the
resistance,
point of those projects though?
to bring people together, to make them work together, to make them relate with each other. After the sixth incursion, a lot of people discovered friends on opposite factions that they were previously enemies, and that was really nice. And the sixth incursion made a lot of friendships happen because of that, because people, they worked to a common goal. They became, in a way, brothers in arms, if I can say that. But that's the idea. The idea is working towards a common project at Spawn. It doesn't matter if that project is extravagant. It doesn't matter if the project has any use. I mean, fuck, look at RAF. What was RAF use? It was a fucking clusterfuck of obsidian.
Okay, but
That's it.
what triggers an incursion? Like, what starts an incursion? I'm just curious.
Usually invasions. Because,
Hmm.
fresh meat at spawn, people want to get some of that frustration. People want to vent on new facts. That's historic. Usually invasions.
Well, all
Usually
right.
invasions.
Um. Well, I must kind of close off this interview because it's gone on for quite a while.
Yeah,
Um.
yeah, okay.
I want to ask you maybe what your advice is for players that are coming to 2B2T for the first time.
Uh, trust no one. Okay, just kidding. No, 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 that's a terrible advice. Uh, I think don't get too comfortable. Sometimes take risks. They might pay off, and they did pay off for me many times. And don't be afraid to take risks. Don't be afraid to relate. Don't be afraid to make friends. Don't be afraid to trust. Even if someone breaks your trust, it doesn't matter. At least you tried, and you need to keep trying. And that's it. You have to come to BZT to have fun. You know, being alone at the base far away is not fun.
Well, all right. Well, I appreciated having you on. I think we hit on a lot of crazy topics through this
Yeah,
hour and 40 minutes. Uh,
man, 1 hour 40 minutes.
yeah. S-
Shit, dude.
So yeah, this was nice. I'm glad I could have you on.
Okay, okay, man.
All right,
It was.
Dr.
I'm
Pickles
very glad too.
signing off, and go subscribe to Sato because he makes pretty good content.